Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for one of those very nerdy game theory videos about how I would change Street Fighter. So you got to use your imagination here, right? If you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Today we're going to do EVIL RYU. Do you remember this move of EVIL RYU? You know, for all intents and purposes, it's kind of like a DENJIN hadoken, right? Sort of, right? So what if I told you we can put this move into the game that I have imagined, this imaginary Street Fighter game, as a normal move, and we can make it work, right? Now, one of the problems or conundrums you might think of how do you put in like the DENJIN hadoken, right? Like it works in a game like Street Fighter 3 because technically you can parry out of it, right? Now, obviously, I would not have parrying in my game, right? Well, you might think of, well, there are stuff like, say, Ryu has the guard break sort of Hadoken in Street Fighter 5, right? And there's also the Goken has his DENJIN Hadoken where it doesn't actually dizzy you. It can't dizzy you fully, but it dizzies you without actually causing it on block, right? Let's try to appreciate those two concepts while actually making it a normal move, right? And we can do this, right? And by doing this, we can actually, and how many times have I said this in games, it's important to have characters that can show off the system of a game, right? So let's go over how we could do this, right? Because you might think, well, this would be cheap. It's a normal move, and it guard breaks you. You can do it all the time, and it's going to dizzy you even when you're blocking it. Clayton, this is broken. This makes no sense. Au contraire. Is that French? I don't know what that is. Well, let's remember what my game is, right? My imaginary game. Let's see how this would work, right? Because every character has to be different, and I would have a character like EVIL RYU because I think we can do something interesting with him to differentiate him from regular Ryu, right? While still appreciating the lure of the character in different ways, right? So again, the basic idea would be we have two supers, right? And it goes up. So think of it as like S and K. You either get a level 1, or if you use 2 bars, you get a level 3, right? But we have this bar at the top, which is your versatile meter, let's say, right? For 1 stock, you could do an EX move, right? Also for 1 stock, like I've said, that is also your wake up options. You could do it to do your delayed get up for a bar. You could do it to do a quick roll, or every character would have their own kind of unique move that they could do automatically when they wake up. Like I've said before, I've theorized you could give Ryu. Do you remember when Ryu in the Street Fighter 2 movie, he gets knocked down by fucking Fei Long, and then he stands up real quick and he does a roundhouse and he goes into a sort of hurricane kick? You could give Ryu a move like that, but then to appreciate the lure of, say, Street Fighter EX, he goes into his Street Fighter EX hurricane kick. You could do something silly like that, right? Every character could have something different. Anyway, so for 1 bar, again, it's your wake up options because I think if you get knocked down, you should have to hold it, or you should have to reversal, or you should have to use some of your meter to get out of it, right? I don't think that you should, every character should, all this delay get up, it's just ridiculous all the time. It should actually cost you something, right? Now, this is also for 1 bar how you do a special move into a super, unless it's a level 3. Level 3, you don't have to waste one of these stocks for, right? But for a level 1, you have to waste a bar, right? Also, it's how you do the CVS2 cancel, right? So if you use a super right here for a stock, you can then cancel that to a special move or a super, right? So you a little love into CVS2. And also for 2 bars, you can cancel your special move into another special move. And then that move actually gets different properties, which I've talked about before, right? And then, you know, after each match, you know what I mean? Maybe after the next round, you can gain a bar or maybe 2 bars, right? But never 3, right? But what is one of the caveats I've said of this, right? One of the caveats is as long as you have 3 bars, your guard will not actually be broken, right? So your guard can go all the way down, right? But it will never break if you actually have 3 bars stocked, right? Also, although you take block damage, you won't actually die. So then you have the people that, just so this actually helps the people that are worried about getting one-shotted at the beginning of the match. Like, oh, because I would put in, if I was making a Street Fighter game, I would totally put in the idea that, yes, there's dizzy combos. Yes, maybe there's even a re-dizzy combo or something like that. I don't actually mind that. I don't mind the idea of someone jumping over a fireball and you getting hit by a theoretical dizzy combo and you could lose the match. Now, what could happen though, assuming it's the first round and you haven't used any of your EX bars, say if Ryu jumps in and does a dizzy combo, at least this gives the player the idea that, well, I'm not going to die from block damage or some shit like that, right? Something like that, right? But again, remember, although it can be breaking your guard, it won't actually break, right? If you start like this, right? So what does this do? What does this do, that long forward? And how does that help us actually put in a move like the DENJIN hadoken, or I think it's the raikou hadoken or some shit. I forget, raido hadoken? What the fuck do they call it in fucking Street Fighter 5? I don't remember. And the METSU hadoken, right? So let's imagine this, right? It's a slow charge up fireball, electricity fireball, whatever the fuck it is. Let's say the little punch one is a little bit slower than, let's say, a Akuma red fireball. And let's say, though, when you block this move, though, it does boom. Right off the bat, it does like a third of your guard meter or half of your guard meter, something like that. Let's say if you do the medium punch one, let's say this one is fast enough that if you were to do a sweep, right? Do a sweep, charge it up, boom, it gives you like a perfect meaty break fireball, right? And if you were to do a hard punch, right, you have to charge this up for longer, right? But it also does a little bit of dizzy. Although it can't actually dizzy you, it does a little bit of dizzy too. Kind of like throwing a little bit of lure to the Goken version, right? Okay? But remember, there is that fail-safe in place, okay? Just in case that Ryu jumps over you, EVIL RYU jumps at you at the beginning of the match, and you're like, oh, fuck, he knocked me down, and now he has this perfect setup to fucking DENJIN METSU hadoken or something like that, right? Now, what could you do looking at the system right here? Because remember, now we would say that after he breaks you, though, let's say that when you normally just break the guy because the move has such tremendous recovery, you basically, it gives you enough to get like a sweep, right? It's not something like, say, not unless you're doing like the hard punch version or something and you hit that up close. Let's say you basically just get a sweep or something like that. So you might be able to break the guy. You do a sweep into another meaty one, into a sweep into another meaty one. But then by that point, you're already getting broke. You're starting to get pushed back. But how would we make this fun and it shows off the system? Well, guess what? Well, for one bar, remember, we could cancel it into a super. So yeah, maybe Ryu, he fucking throws you full screen away or some shit like that. And he does a guard break and you have no, and you just stand up into it. I can use a bar to fucking cancel to a super. Or my super move, right? If I were to use 2 bars, let's say, of my versatile meter, guess what I could do? While your guard broke like that, I could teleport in front of you or behind you and then boom. Well, at that point, you're probably going to get hit by a dizzy combo, right? Because it's not something like, oh, even after I guard break you, it's not really enough to get in and combo you, right? I can get enough for like another hit, something like that, right? But if I were to use more of my meter, then guess what? Yeah, I could fucking teleport behind you and I'd probably have a dizzy combo, especially if I hit you with the hard punch version, which also does that Goken kind of dizzy thing like in Street Fighter 4. Or if I have no meter, right? Remember, if I have a level 3, if I have no meter, well, if I have a level 3, then I could super cancel it into a Raging Demon or give him the Dragon Punch super, right? Now, if we were to go back here, so imagine something like this. What does this also do, right? So say that we got the throw here. Imagine this. He does a long charge up. Well, if I break the guy that far away, right, I'm not really in range to take advantage of this guard break in the first place, right? I would have to, as I showed in the picture over here, I'd have to waste a super or something like that, right? Let's go back to it here again. Imagine something like this. The next example, let's say, boom, I have some combo like this, boom. This gives me like a perfect meaty setup. Now imagine that breaks, but say I want to use the 2 bars. So of course I can't teleport because I can't cancel like in the game. But just imagine that. Perfectly charged up. It's like the Goken version. Oh, I wasted 2 bars. Now I'm teleporting. Oh, well, I got a free fucking dizzy combo now, right? Or you know what another thing is too? Guess what? Remember he has this auto combo? But the auto combo, why would you use that when you can just combo and do other things? Well, guess what? Say the auto combo as well. It gives you a perfect, well, let's say it theoretically, right, can give you a perfect setup to it as well. So now you're like, oh, fuck, right? I have throw into the go conversion or something like that. I have auto combo into the go conversion, something like that. The medium punch version, it gives me a sweep or something like that, so I can at least get a free combo to sweep after it, right? For not using any bar, right? And that's kind of a good meaty setup. Or if I'm just doing the little punch one, it's just like a boom chunk, right? If they're letting me get away with it, right? Do you see how we've actually kind of like appreciated the lore of the different versions of the move, and we've made a version of the move that is actually not broken and actually shows off the system of the game potentially? Because remember, right, to get the best stuff off of it, I have to use my versatile bar, let's say, right? Otherwise, you know, maybe he has some setups with the medium punch version, like I can do a sweep into it, right? And sweep into it, charge up. It's a perfect meaty attack, right? Then I do it again. I get another version. I can do a sweep into it again, right? Now I'm at this range. I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I'm at the range where my sweep, I'm not going to be able to do it again. So I'm just going to do sweep, hurricane kick combo, say DP or something, you know, a little bit of a combo there. But now I'm close up to the guy, so I can't guard break them anyway, right? And maybe each time after he shoots the fireball, he smidges back just a little bit far, just to make it harder for the player to theoretically have a setup that can be looped, right, for a little bit. Like, I would not mind there being setups where, yeah, you could do a loop of it and it could be unblockable 2 times in a row, something like that. Maybe he has stuff like that. That wouldn't bother me, right? Because it's not enough that you're getting a full combo off of it unless you're using the system, right? Now, of course, if you somehow hit the hard punch version, right, and you're right next to the guy because the guy lets you get away with it, let's say that guard breaks enough that, you know what I mean, that's on them. Just like if you do the little punch version, that's about as fast as a Akuma red fireball, right? But it never can just outright guard break you like these other versions. It's just a chunk here, a chunk here, a chunk here, right? But remember, like I said, guess what? As long as you have 3 bars, none of this fucking works, right? None of this works. And you could also theoretically, if you have 1 bar and your character doesn't have a reversal, because yes, if I was making a game, no, not everyone has a fucking reversal for free. Like Ryu, Ken, you know, Guy, Hurricane Kick, whatever it is, or Zangief, you know, Lariat, something like that. If I was making Street Fighter, I would not have every character have a reversal. I'm fine with that. Maybe every character only has a reversal if they have super, or they have to use their versatile meter, right, to get out of the setup by doing a delayed get up or a roll themselves or their special move, you know. You see what I'm getting at? So like I said, I think it appreciates the lore of the move. It throws a little bit of a different spin on it. It's making EVIL RYU a little bit different, right? And it's showing off the game system. And it's forcing the opponent to use the game system as well. And isn't that important for a game, right? Now, a great thing about this, if we're comparing this to say something like, let's say Street Fighter 6. What did I say was going to happen in Street Fighter 6, right? I was like, well, talking about everyone's just going to drive rush. We're all going to use our meter in the same way, right? Now, and I also said, say something for drive impact. Is that the Street Fighter 4 counter thing, whatever it is? When people are talking about drive impact, they're like, oh, no one's ever going to get by drive impact. You're always going to jump away from it, or you're always going to throw it. And I'm like, no, that's not how the game is going to work. You can tell the game is a tug of war between the system, because at the end of the day, and I was completely right, like how old is the game now? 2, 3 years old? Technically, if you count the betas. Is it 2 years old? 2 years old now, right? Something like that, right? And I'm like, the best counter for drive impact is going to be your exact drive impact. That tug of war. But here we see this. Guess what? What is the best counter to Ryu using his bar? It's not the same thing, right? Maybe one character has a better move, like a Ryu, like I said. Maybe Ryu uses a quick get up thing and he like does his movie hurricane kick immediately. Maybe some character has a different thing. Like I said, I would say if I was doing Akuma, right? If I was making Akuma, I would make him karate chop you on the head because I don't think he needs that as a super. Just like EVIL RYU, I have theorized what would be EVIL RYU's alpha counter or his get up move. I don't know if EVIL RYU actually needs the teleport as a normal move. I'm not sure if I would actually give that to EVIL RYU. I would be maybe just keep Akuma having that as the Ashura Warp or whatever. Maybe that he has that as a normal move, but maybe EVIL RYU only does that move. That's his alpha counter. That's his get up move, right? Every character has a different way to change their get up timing, but it's a unique way, and not every way automatically punishes the same thing, right? Even though in this situation, you could say it's a tug of war between our meters, the meter is going to be used differently and is not applicable in every situation to every character. Right? And of course, like I said, what does this also do? At least if it's the first round and you haven't used any bars before, what does this do? This means that say he jumps over another Ryu's fireball. Boom, 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 he combos. And now he's doing his automatic setup into a unblockable fireball. Well, guess what? It's not going to actually make him unblockable. So that player, at least in round 1, doesn't have to worry about, oh, fucking goddamn it, the first round is over. Now, let's say if that were to happen in round 2 and the other player already wasted a couple of their bars, well, guess what? Each round, you only get a bar back. So you're like, fuck. Now I have to decide, do I want to do a wake-up attack? Because guess what? My guard is going to be broken. I don't get the freebie of I can no longer die from block damage, and the guard break will no longer, it won't guard break. It will just keep me at that 1%, right? Do you see what this automatically does? It's genius. I know. Why am I coming up with this shit, right? Anyway. And of course, Ryu, to get his best stuff off of it, guess what? You have this level 2. I gotta waste the super into super thing. Now, maybe, like I said, for other characters, when they use their special move into special move, they want to save it for something else that is more special, right? Maybe their EX moves are just that effective that they're like, oh, fuck. Well, I want to use my EX moves more than I want to do this special in the special or this special in the super. Maybe EVIL RYU is like, oh, fuck. I always want to keep 2 bars because guess what? Then I have an instant win condition almost if I set you up and you've used your bars, right? Maybe, like you say, maybe it's the 3rd round and Ryu has been saving his bars wisely. And the other character has been using his versatile meter fraudulently. He used it too much. And now EVIL RYU is like, fuck, I know I can basically instantly win this round, basically. Unless the character has a reversal. I'm not saying you can't reversal, but I would not give every character a reversal, right? Not every character has a dragon punch in the game I would make. Anyway. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share. Support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.